Hey, thanks for joining. Today, we're diving into a conflict that's spilling over from the physical battlefield into, well, the digital world that all of us rely on every single day. A completely new front has just opened up, and it's not in some remote desert, it's in the cloud. And then this headline dropped in the Financial Times. I mean, just read that. An Amazon data center in flames. This was a really shocking escalation. See, this isn't just about ships and missile sites anymore. We're talking about the actual infrastructure of our modern world. The stakes just got a whole lot higher. And that's the key takeaway here. This signals a huge strategic shift. We are moving way beyond what you'd call traditional warfare. When cloud computing facilities become legitimate targets, it means the digital foundations of entire economies. They're now in the crosshairs. Okay, so first things first, let's break down the specifics of this reported attack. What exactly happened here, and why is this one incident such a big deal? So the target was an Amazon Web Services data center located in Bahrain. Now, this wasn't just some random building. This facility is a critical digital hub for all of West Asia. It supports everything from financial systems to government platforms. Hitting it isn't just about damaging a building. It's about trying to sever the connectivity and data access for an entire region. But believe it or not, the attack on the data center, that was just the beginning. What came next was a direct and, frankly, unprecedented threat from Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. They expanded the conflict way beyond the battlefield to some of the world's biggest companies. 18. That's the number. 18 major U.S. corporations, publicly named as potential targets. I mean, let that sink in for a second. This is a massive escalation. We're talking about a state military organization publishing what is, for all intents and purposes, a public hit list of multinational corporations. And this wasn't some random list either. It includes the absolute biggest names in tech, finance, and aerospace. Think Apple, Google, Microsoft, Tesla, Boeing, the list goes on. And the IRGC's reason? They claim that these companies help U.S. and Israeli espionage with their technologies, essentially painting them as part of a wider intelligence war. And to really add a ticking clock to this whole thing, the IRGC set a specific deadline, 2000 Iran time, on April 1st for these attacks to start. They even went so far as to warn employees of these companies to leave their workplaces immediately. It created the sense of very real, very imminent danger. So you have these new, pretty scary threats emerging. How is Washington responding? Well, this is where things get complicated. The administration's public statements and its actual military actions seem to be telling two completely different stories. So on the one hand, you have this absolute bombshell of a report from the Wall Street Journal. It suggests President Trump is ready to wind down the whole military campaign, even if it means leaving the world's most critical oil choke point basically under Iranian control. That sounds like a clear signal of de-escalation, right?
But then, on the other hand, just look at the actions on the ground. While the talk is all about ending the campaign, the military is busy deploying the USS Tripoli, parts of the 82nd Airborne, and they're reportedly even thinking about sending another 10,000 troops to the region. This massive gap between the words and the actions is creating a whole lot of uncertainty.
All right, to try and cut through some of that confusion, let's look at what we know for sure. Let's talk about the official, named U.S. military operation and what its stated goals actually are. The administration has laid out 5 core objectives for what it's calling Operation Epic Fury. And the mission, as you can see, is really comprehensive. It's about systematically taking apart Iran's conventional military power, their navy, their missiles, their production facilities, while also weakening their allies in the region. And the ultimate goal, tying it all together, preventing a nuclear Iran. And here's where we are on the calendar. The operation kicked off back on March 4th. Today is April 2nd. So that means we are on day 30 of a campaign that was projected to last 4 to 6 weeks. According to the Pentagon's own clock, we're getting pretty close to the end of the estimated window for this whole operation. So with this operation supposedly nearing its end and the conflict simultaneously expanding into this new digital space, what are the wider implications? Let's talk about what this all means because the stakes for the global economy are absolutely massive. It really all comes down to this one single geographic location, the Strait of Hormuz. This narrow channel is, and I'm not exaggerating, it's like the jugular vein of the global energy market. It is the single most important oil choke point in the entire world. And just consider this one number, 20%. 1/5 of all the oil consumed on the planet flows right through that narrow strait every single day. So any closure, any disruption, it has immediate and severe consequences for gas prices and supply chains everywhere. It really does impact everyone. And this brings us right back to that report about the U.S. potentially ending its military campaign while the strait is still closed. Experts like Suzanne Maloney over at the Brookings Institution have called a strategy like that unbelievably irresponsible. She warns the economic damage would get so much worse because energy markets are global. And so we're left with this question. This whole conflict has shown us that the front lines, they're not just lines on a map anymore. When your email server, your cloud storage, and the companies that literally build your phone are all seen as potential targets, it forces us all to ask, in the 21st century, where does the battlefield truly end?